Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of Flutter Explained. Today we want to talk about the PDF package and we want to create a PDF document out of our Flutter application. For that we create a small demo application where you can add and subtract items from a list. After that you click on a button and you create an invoice out of it into a PDF document which is formatted. With the new package or with the package PDF, which is very closely aligned to the Flutter package, which is amazing. So if you know Flutter, you are getting very easily into this PDF document. You have all the options that you need for creation of a document, also for forms like checkboxes, text boxes and stuff. But also you have the possibility to create rows and columns like you are knowing it already from Flutter. With all these advantages, you are able to create your own PDF document. Today, we want to see inside of our application how you create your PDF document. After that, we want to also open it on the device. So if you use a real device, it's also opening up the Acrobat reader for you, where you can see the PDF document. All right, but now without further ado, let's get started. Okay, so now before we jump into the tutorial where we go step by step on how you can use the PDF creator, let's have a look on what we want to create. You can see already the invoice generator where you can buy different things like a membership, nails for 30 cents and hammers for 26 euros and hamburgers and stuff. I took hamburgers because in Germany it has a different VAT. And so we calculate all that stuff. As you can see, we get the VAT in total and we get the total amount of pricings. And if I click now create invoice, it will take a second and we create this nice little invoice. It is not a financial information here, so this is really just to show you that it is possible to create PDFs out of it. Also, you can see that the name of the invoice is 0 at the moment. So if I click that button again, we get 1. And if I click it once more, we get 2. So we save different invoices now on our device. Also, what's interesting, you are already in the PDF viewer of iOS or of Android or on macOS. And that happens without an issue. We will take a look on how it works on iOS first. And I will show you that it also works on macOS if you develop directly for macOS with all these tools. But now let's jump into the to-dos and let's see how we can create this invoice. Let's get into it. All right, first things first, down in the video description, you will find the GitHub repository with all the code. And if you join in the to-do tutorial, you can join this tutorial along. So you will find all the to-dos that we want to follow along. So if you go down here, you have a project, all the to-dos that we need to fulfill, and we will go one by one through it, as always in our tutorials. So let's get into it. Let's have a look into the tutorial boilerplate. So the beginning code. So we have an app, we create the app in Flutter, we have a home page. Inside of this home page, we create some products that I created first, and we initialize the PDF invoice service. This PDF invoice service is here just once created for the whole home page and for the whole application. And if we jump inside, we can see there is the things that we need to implement. So it will be how to create a PDF, how to save it in the file, and how to open it. And we will do that one step by another. But then we create some products and we have a number. And this number is just for the file name. So we create invoice 0, invoice 1, invoice 2, and so on and so forth. After that, we have an app bar, some padding with a list view builder. In this list view builder, we show the current product that we have implemented. And for each product, we have an icon with a plus and an icon with a minus to increase or decrease the amount. And we just use the basic set state of Flutter for it. So very basic, going straightforward with Flutter. And down here, we have just a summarizing of all the stuff with the fold methods. So it's nothing special, but if you don't understand it, take some time to understand each part of it. But at the moment, if we take a look into the simulator and I create invoice, you will see we get a so-called unimplemented error. So we didn't have implemented it yet. All right, to begin our journey, we will need 3 packages: the PDF package, the path provider if you are working with Flutter. If you only work with Dart, you don't need that, and the open document package. All 3 of them we will find where? Of course, in pub.dev. So head over to pub.dev, and as you see, I already opened it up. So we have the PDF 3.6 at the moment, we have the path provider and the open document. As always, we install them with the command here. I will do that quickly and then we will go further. So I add them here. All right, so after I have executed all 3 commands from our pub.dev, we can remove all 3 of these because now we have implemented all the packages that we need. We executed already pub-get, and with that we are finished with these to-dos. So let's see where we have to go next. And I know already that it is inside of the iOS package, because I want to work with iOS in this part. If you are working with Android, you will have to do something slightly different. If you go to the PDF package and README, and it's not the PDF package, sorry, it is the Open Document package. And if you look into it, we see that we have some settings we have to do for Android. So we have to add that into the Android manifest. But this time we want to work with iOS, so we copy this line into our info plist. So you can see already it's way easier, but you will manage it. And if not, you can ask a question and I will also answer that inside below. All right, so inside of our info plist, we will add this part and save that. And with that, we are now all ready and set to finish the invoice service. We can get the dependencies once more to make the IDE happy, and then let's go. So in our main, what happens is if we press the button, as we can see here, we first get data from the create invoice. But we have currently 2 methods inside of this service. One is create invoice and the other one is create hello world. And let's start with the create hello world because it should give you an understanding on how we create these PDF files. So if we head over here, we can see, okay, let's start with the tutorial here. We remove the unimplemented error and now let's see how we can create a PDF. All right, so you know what this time means, right? This is the right moment to hit the like button, subscribe to our channel if you haven't yet, and thanks for watching as always. And now let's get further with the video. All right, to get started with the PDF package, we need these 2 imports. The first one is pdf.dart and the second one is widgets.dart inside of PDF that we call PW. So, and if we add these imports up here, we will now be able to implement the first PDF. So final PDF equals pw.document. And this PW implements all the widgets that we can use inside of our Adobe Acro in our PDF file. These PWs are more or less like annotations if you are worked with other libraries already. The benefit is just that it works exactly like Flutter, and I really enjoyed that. So we created our PDF document and now we have to add a file, pdf.addPage. And with that, we have now the possibility to create a page. So we pw page, and inside of this page, we have now some constructor parts, right? So like build, for example. And build is a function which gets a context and creates us widgets. The only difference is this is not a real context like we know from Flutter, it's a PW context. So it's a little bit different, but it's still close to this, it's similar, but not the same, so-called. Okay, but now what does it mean we can build something? How does that work? So we added a page already, but now we want to add hello world in the center of the PDF. So we have to return something in this build method. And what we want to return is a pw.center. And inside of this center, we have a child, which gets a pw text. And there we say hello world. So make that beautiful and ready. So does it work? Sorry. I think we have to return that. And it should be up, of course, like that. Cool. So as you see, if we now have added that, that's it already. With that, we created the first PDF document inside. And with that, we have also our first page. So we have written that, and now we want to save the PDF. So if we say pdf.save, it will internally create us a so-called uint8 list. If we have a hover over it, we can see it's a future of uint8 list. And this is exactly what we want to create. So with that, this method is ready. Causing null to be returned, but the return type is potential non-nullable type. Not sure where this comes from now. Return of row. Okay, maybe I have to, of course we have to return that. So that was the mistake. Cool, fair enough. So now this is not even async. So what we could do is await for that, but we don't want to because this is already our future of uint8 list. Cool. So if we head over back to our main.dart, we can see, okay, we created now the hello world. We save the PDF file to something, but as you can see, there is nothing implemented. If we jump into, we get the unimplemented error again. So for that, we want now to create the file inside of Flutter, inside of any directory. And after that, we want to open it up as we want in a usual way. So because we are working with Flutter, we need the package for the path finder. And with that, we get the get temporary directory. And if we use that, we get our, we can implement that one, which is from the path provider, which provides us now the correct path where this temporary directory is. This is just for some time, so it could be deleted anytime from iOS or from Android, but it is enough for our use case at the moment. Now that we have this output, we can use it to create a file path. The file path is now the path of this temporary directory plus the name of the file that we want to add. So we just pass in this one. There I just pass in the file name, which comes from as a parameter, and the output.path is the way where the directory is for Flutter. The next step is we need to create a file. So we need any kind of file where we pass in the file path. So, and why do we need a file? Of course, we want to save that inside of our Dart.io. So make sure this is Dart.io. From this time on, it's not possible to do it in the web browser anymore, right? Because we use the IO package of the local environment. But if you want to use it in web, you will need to import Dart.html. Good. So, and next would be that we want to write in that file. So write as bytes, and we pass in the byte list. So this is our PDF actually. Now that we have saved the file, we saved everything inside and it's done. And the next and last step is actually to open the file. So for that, we use the open document and we call open document, and we have to import that. And as you see, we use the file path again. So the only thing is we say, okay, hey, there is the file. We save everything inside. After that, we use open document to open the document again. That's it. To-dos are done. Good. So this is now the perfect time to test if we can start the application and click on create invoice. And as you can see, the name is invoice 0 and we save the name hello world in the middle of the page. So that's the great stuff, right? You can use these PW things as widgets, as normal widgets like we know them from Flutter, like PW Center, it's known from Flutter. You have PW Text, it's known from Flutter. You can also create other things like PW checkboxes and stuff like that, and also text fields is possible. And if you want to have the text aligned into any direction, you can use the text field alignment. So as you know it from Flutter, you just pass them besides of it. You even have styles, you can use different fonts and things like that. Amazing stuff, I can tell you. So of course, we cannot create the whole template now. So I will maybe copy a lot of things, but I want to make at least the first couple of things like loading the image, creating the PDF again, creating the custom rows. And after that, we will be very quickly done with the PDF invoice. You can copy then the whole template that I created beforehand. All right, the first step here is of course not to create a hello world example. We have to create our invoice this time. And this time we have to pass in the sold products, which is our product list. I hope it's the name products. Yes, so products. The products are the products that we have here on this page. So now we pass them into the create invoice method. And here we get these sold products. Now we have to do the same things again. We have to create a PDF document. We create an add page. And as you can see, we have here some multiple list steps like custom rows. What is a custom row? A custom row is a row that just shows the lines of the different items. After that, we want to load the image from the root bundle because as you can see, we have the image in the asset folder. And this asset here, we want to display on our invoice. For that, we will use the root bundle. After that, we add the page to the PDF and save the PDF again as we know it already. Cool, so step by step. So the first thing that we have to do again is we create our PDF immediately, pw document. So from this now on, this is pretty easy, but now comes the custom row. If we take a look into custom row, we will find it up here. It has an item name, item price, the amount of items, then the total and the VAT. So all of these are important things and we will calculate that from the different parts. But because we have a column and we want to have it always in the same space, we need to create it beforehand as something special out of our sold products. So I will copy that quickly over. All right, so I copied these elements over and I closed and folded everything so that we can talk one by one about it. So the first column is our header column. We have the item name, item price, amount, total, and VAT. Then we go through each of our products from sold products and we create the name of the product. We add the price of the product, the amount of the product, and then we calculate the total amount that we have to pay for it. And after that, the VAT price. So for that, we calculate the VAT in percent. And I see there is currently a problem because if we do that, we need to take the VAT in percent. Let me quickly fix that. So the price, of course, has to be divided by 100 and then times the VAT in percent to really calculate the VAT. But that was a bit of a mistake by myself, but now this makes more sense. And down here we have then the subtotal, the VAT total, and last but not least, again, this VAT total, I think that's also a mistake, should be just total. So it's the combination of the subtotal and the VAT total. For all of these, we have created these methods. And if you take a look into it, it's just a fold about all the products that we have. And I just wanted to make it quick and dirty that everyone can easily understand it. Okay, so with that, we have our custom rows to make all the columns exactly the same width without that I have to implement anything from myself. So we have created this and are done with that. Next step is to load the image. The image to load is pretty easy. We can just use the root bundle, and the root bundle is from Flutter services, which loads the asset, which we added into our pubspec.yaml down here. So I just added the whole package, the whole assets. And now we just go to that image and load that into our system. After that, I call buffer and as uint8 list. Also, this is just a uint8 list. It's just a basic byte array. And with that, we are able to load that correctly and show it in our PDF. All right, but now let's have a look on how we can create the page again. So we use PDF add page, right? So and inside of here, we have now to create the page. So pw page. And what we can also do is, and thanks to Flutter, we have now the possibility to see all the named constructor parts, and page format is, for example, something. And if we now use the pw page, no, I don't see it. Where is it? Sorry, it's this is from the other package actually. So it's PDF page format. And then we can even say the different formats for the PDF, like A4, A3, and things like that. And we can even set the centimeters and things like that into it. But we want to take a basic A4 format, which is also the default, and build our page. Again, with the build, we get PW context, and this one returns something. And it's now, this build method is actually like the build method of each of a Flutter widget, if you want. Okay. No, why is it red? Because we don't return anything. So now let's return a PW column. And this PW column will contain now our widgets that we want. And as you know, a column has a children property. And inside of these children can be now, again, whatever we want. Like, for example, let's say we want to have our image inside of it. So here I prepared that already. It's PW memory image, and we take the image inside of it. So this is this image up here. And with that, we display the image where we need it. And now we can just create with that, like we would create in Flutter, all the different widgets. We just use this PW to create our things that we want. So for example, we say, okay, the image is here. So next step would be to add a row. So PW row, and inside of this row, we want to have like a main axis alignment where we have to use the PW main axis alignment and can say, for example, space between. Now we have children inside of it again, and we want to have the address bar up here. So we can, I prepared it already. So what we want to have is 2 columns with a lot of texts inside of them. So fair enough. So we have again columns and text and so on and so forth. And as I said, this looks very familiar to Flutter. Unfortunately, we cannot create widgets out of it, or at least not easy enough. But as you can see, if you jump inside, these things are just extending flags. So it's easy to create your own PDF widgets, more or less. And what you also can do to at least make your code a little bit more readable, because that gets a very large template at the end, is you can create methods out of it. So if you go here inside, you can say extract methods. If you go to refactor and say extract method, then you can add here something more speakable, like address. And with that, you create a method out of it. And this part is now a row with all these things. So it makes your overall template way more readable. Okay, but now I'm talking already a lot. Let's have a look on if we created this, and now we can return pdf.save, right? And with that, we save the PDF again. And because our overall code before with the save down here, the save PDF file is still working exactly the same, we are sure that our code is working. So if I go here, and we add some hammers to our bed, we create this, and let's keep the nails out, and I create the invoice. You can see we get now our image and our address bar. Cool. So you get now a challenge. You have to create the whole list with the columns and things like that. I will paste that now in, but you saw the result already in the beginning. Feel free to add everything and maybe showcase me your results in a short YouTube video. I would be very happy to see what you created with the PDF viewer. If you have questions or any feedback, let me know down in the comments below. And now head over to Max, who will give you the wrap up. All right, now we had a first look on how the PDF works. We saw how the annotations work and how you can create your own PDF documents. We created an invoice, and now you are able to use this package for your advantages, so you can create your own PDF documents. That is currently working on iOS and Android, and I was very surprised how easy it is to use inside of Flutter and Dart. Of course, you can do all of that part also server-side possibility, because it's Dart native, the PDF package, and you can directly create a PDF document inside of a server and pass it down to the client. If you remember, we talked about server architecture the last time, and if you are interested, you can create that now into your application. If you have done that, please let me know down in the comments below so that I can see your application and give you some feedback. I would be very interested to see what you have created. All right, so that's it for this episode of Flutter Explained. Thank you very much for watching, and until the next time, see ya guys.